This is a somber evening. We are on the brink. I'm trying to be serious. We are on the brink of. What are we on the brink of? The end of the series. Oh no, this is the final episode.
The dramatic conclusion.
The dramatic conclusion. What's going to happen? Why have our heroes been sent back in time hundreds of years? Will they be able to find the Oathstar and bring her back to where she belongs? What's going on with Hydonia? Are they knocking down walls now? I don't know. How are they going to get there? I don't know. We're going to find out. And we're going to wrap up our story tonight. So I'm very excited about that. And thank you all for joining us for this journey. It's been an exciting campaign. I hope that you've enjoyed it as much as we've had. We've enjoyed it. And why don't I go ahead and do the obligatory move around the table and introduce everybody. I'm Christopher Gray, creator of Highcaster and chronicler of the campaign. I use he, him pronouns. And I'm going to punt the ball to Rob.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rob Abear. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing the role of Grumble, our favorite Rocky Round Boy, and Bard of the crew. You can find my art, my game designs, all that good stuff anywhere those things are found under at Nerdy Paper Games. I'm at Nerdy Paper Games on Itch.io and Twitter and Instagram and all the stuff. Please give me a follow and buy my commission slots. Hashtag do it for milkshake.
I was wondering on Facebook if Grumble was going to make a rock opera out of this.
Man, you should have saved that for the... If you had dropped that in the middle of a session, that would have been amazing.
I ruined it.
You should have...
Oh, no.
Got to keep that powder dry. I will throw it to Emir.
Hello. Yes, I am Emir. I am being played by Kurt. I use he, him pronouns. And if you are interested in the things that I do outside of being Emir, you can find me on Twitter at Kurt Potts. I'm the co-author of Lighthearted, a role-playing game about magical 80s stuff that you might see on the Gallant Knight Games Twitch channel in the future. And yeah, that's me. Find me on Twitch. Emir is our ranger, but I am a wildkin. I am also 18 feet tall and have an otter bear companion named Muscles. I'll throw it to Danny.
Hi, I'm Danny. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a writer. I write all sorts of things. I write fiction, and I write for role-playing games, and I'm also a voice actress upon occasion. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Danielle Delisle and at my website, danielledelisle.com, and see the stuff I've been up to. I am playing a Nosy. She is a Magister Drake, so she is a magic dragon, as all dragons are. And she has lovely blue scales and is apparently quite attractive to the seabirds population. I don't know how that came about. This was news to her, but yeah, so definitely interesting. And she has had her first tussle with a flaming unicorn last time. So she's had all sorts of new experiences this voyage, and I will turn it over to my partner in crime for my podcast, for our podcast, my podcast, our podcast, her podcast. Tell us what's in the book. It's Joanna.
It's my podcast. No, I'm kidding. Hi. I'm Joanna Nelius. I play Renoy. She, her pronouns for both. Renoy is a magical, slightly scary, descended from demons. Why am I blanking out on the name? Fiend, F-Y-N-T. She's pretty nice. She likes to help people, but she also has a mean side to her, and apparently is not very good at fighting things with fire. She rolls terribly whenever she has to do that. So maybe this last session she can turn it all around.
There was a lot of pressure. It was
Yeah.
difficult. There was a lot going on, and her mind wasn't in it.
No, she buckled, which is fine because we all have our off days, right?
It's like it's like the comedian says. Tacos fall apart, and we still love tacos.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, unless you make them on top of your counter like that one chick did. Anyways.
Ew, I remember that video. Oh God. Why, Joanna?
We
Why?
don't speak of that
Why?
video in
That
this
was
house.
that was a
Why?
terrible video.
Why would you do that? We're having a good time.
If you're wondering what that's about, don't wonder and don't look it up.
Just don't save yourself. But yeah, if you want to follow my podcast that I do with Danny, our podcast, my podcast, our podcast, you can find us on Twitter at @thebox_podcast. The full name of our podcast is Tell Us What's in the Box. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, basically. Yeah. And I'm also a journalist and fiction writer. So, hi, I'm done.
She's a fantastic journalist. She tagged it on, but she's fantastic.
No.
She is often the number one Google result when I try to look up anything related to technology and consumer electronics.
You
Can't get away from her.
I often find myself reading an article.
I have accidentally, or I shouldn't say accidentally, I've unwittingly posted to both Twitter and Facebook articles written by Joanna without reading the byline, which says bad things about me anyway, but not realizing that Joanna was in fact the author of said article.
Hard-hitting journalism.
Which graphics card should you buy? You can't find any.
I need to know how automatic cat feeder works. That's what we need to know.
Whichever graphics card you can actually find. That's the one that
exactly.
you buy at this point.
Well, a lot has happened to bring us here. One of the things I do want to plug is if you are curious about the short appearance of Julius Lorato, the chronicler for Hydoni, who mysteriously disappeared with the teleportation of the God Shard, I'm actually playing out Julius's story in another stream using the solo play rules for Highcaster. And it's an experiment, and it's kind of fun. And you get to follow along with Julius, who's sort of like my GMPC, I guess. And that will be that'll be going sort of haphazardly.
My best friend in the
ongoing.
whole world. Julius and me are like this. We're blood brothers. If I had blood.
He showed up a lot in the core book, and he showed up a lot in just examples on how to play the game. And so I figured I'll just bring some more life into him, and you can find out where he ended up. No place good because I rolled really terribly yesterday.
Oh no.
Poor Julius. Anyway,
we kind of feel bad.
You hardly knew him,
I mean,
it's a complicated relationship. But let's not worry about him. Let's worry about the Whitlanders, who have come all of the way from the Whitlands around the north on the coast where they met the Seabeards, down the river to the Riverlands, and back into the bayou before they were mysteriously teleported to hundreds of years ago in the Whitlands. And they met, perhaps the Oathstar herself, but who is uncharacteristically lost. And in that moment, they realize that they are replaying history and that they need to go and trek all the way back to where they came from in order to get to her temple. And that's sort of where we left, because this is a unique situation. You are in a different time, in a different place, playing out history. And it's history that Grumble remembers through his records, and this is something that has already happened. So it's almost like you can't even really change anything from here, but it is probably actually happening. That this isn't some strange illusion brought on by the God Shard, that the God Shard actually brought you back. That something happened in that moment where you were exchanging temporal energies beyond comprehension and just ended up in an important part of history. And this maybe isn't an important part of cultural history, but it's certainly an important part of the realm. So what's going on? Why are you here? And what are you going to do about it? Do you have the weeks it's going to take to go across a time that you've never experienced before?
Well,
You
a
remember-
thought does occur. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Remember, this is the Highcaster Empire is in full swing. We don't know what to expect out there. This isn't the wilds that you've crossed before.
Well, a thought does occur. Way back in session 1, we were informed that there were basically 2 routes to where we that led to where we wanted to go. One was directly through the swamp and bayou area, and we decided to go with the safer roundabout route, and that's how we ended up meeting the Saybeards and all the other wonderful characters that we've met. Now that we are back in time, I feel like we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by taking that alternate route, since we will get there hopefully faster, but also there will be less Highcaster Empire presence in, the deep dark swamp. Obviously, if we take overland roads, we're going to hit settlements and cities and things like that. And as far as the records, the songs, the epic poems that Grumble has learned and performed, heard about this time, it's very much like prophecy, right? So it's very sort of poetic and general, but the fact that there aren't other stories of the exploits of these, the escorts of the Oathstar, that would indicate that we didn't really make a lot of noise or do a lot of far-reaching actions in the past. It's pretty much, we know that we're the escorts and that the escorts got her to the temple, so we have to get to the temple, or else I don't know what happens if we don't fulfill the sort of backwards prophecy.
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know what's going to happen.
That is definitely beyond Grumble's pay grade to understand the ins and outs of temporal displacement.
I'm beginning to have a very bad reaction to index cards. Just
I don't like this quiz. I don't like this.
Time is running out.
Dang.
While you're deliberating, and you have some time to deliberate a bit more because you have to decide what to do next. But as you're deliberating, the cycle of the Oathstar coming to you and being lost and coming back is just replaying, no matter where you are. So she keeps on coming to you, looks confused, and then is gone. Back into the sky, back on Earth, and it's just sort of playing this weird cycle.
Is the cycle the exact same every time, or is it slightly different?
It's slightly different. It's
Okay.
like she's genuinely there and genuinely lost, and so it's not like it's calculated in any way. But the message is the same, that she doesn't know where she is, and so she goes back to the sky.
Okay, this is like some high magic shit that Grumble is not 100% prepared for.
Inosi is, very much in agreement with Grumble's suggestion to go the other way. That seems to be the better route. So Inosi kind of nods, and we need to find some way to show her where to go, if that's the way we're going. Does anybody have any ideas on how to guide her along the way?
Well, once we have a route, I can of course help us find the quickest path through. It seems like firstly we are going to have to break her out of that cycle. I could set a trap. I've never tried to trap a god though. It might be difficult.
Well, maybe it doesn't need to be a trap so much as, you've created runs for different animals that you hunt and things like that. Maybe it's just we need to like guide her on a path or a trail as opposed to, snatching her up and trying
Sure.
to.
Hmm.
I mean, if she theoretically appears wherever we are before she disappears, then doesn't that mean if we continued on our way, she would technically follow us?
I think she is stuck here.
Hmm.
No?
Can we
You
determine that?
don't know.
We don't know. We could try moving forward and see if she follows.
Well, I want to just try to talk to her and see if we can she carry on a conversation? Or is she mentally resetting every single time that she skips backwards?
It appears she's mentally resetting every time. I mean, she can hold conversations. She can see you, but she's not entirely present. It's like she's in a dream state. She feels like she's in a dream state. And so any interaction's impermanent. But you do see, even if you go a little bit further away, her appearance always is where you are. So Renoy's right about that.
Okay, so we have okay, well that works for me then.
Yeah. If she is bound to us in some way, then all we have to do is make our way. And when we get to the temple, hopefully that resets it.
Agreed. Fingers crossed, y'all.
Here is I guess we're in and it's still at night because you arrived at sunset.
Mhm.
So you're in the middle of the night, and you can see the beautiful star field ahead, all over there. I mean, just countless stars. But there's a horrifying, loud cracking noise. That's sort of it's like the noise that you hear if you were on a ship that just got broken into. It echoes throughout the entire environment. It seems to be coming from the sky. And when you look up, you can see a huge crack has appeared in the night firmament.
Hey y'all, that wasn't there before, right? That's new.
And that is new.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What do we see through the crack?
It's sort of on the sides of the crack is this bright stellar radiance, but inside the crack itself is darkness. This thread is escalating.
We better move then.
This timeline might not be stable. It feels like we might need to get a move on.
Yeah.
We need to get back to the future, y'all.
Yeah. I know. So we'll look at a mirror and be like, you know which are guiding us.
Let us away. Emir takes off. So he starts moving at pace. He figures they'll be able to keep up. Grumble can roll and Renoy can fly, and I don't know. Nosie's a wizard, so they'll figure it out.
Just put her way over there.
Yeah.
No, she's just fine. Like,
so Amir he starts moving.
All right. So your confronting time is running out. See if you can find a quick way through the swamps to get to the temple.
Yeah. Okay. So first, I am. This is discipline of journeys. I know and understand how to get through an environment. I'm going to use my D8.
Mm-hmm.
What am I rolling here?
Well, I think this is. I want to say scout, which is courage, but I think there might be. I think there might be something bigger going on in terms of your motivations.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, I don't know. What do you think in terms of your
Well,
motivation?
doesn't Emir have like a whole thing about he can't make an oath?
Yeah.
Right. All right. So actually, no. It will be back. It will be the other way around. How is
think
this not scout?
Whatever's happening here, I just need to get it set right so that I can get my friends back safe.
All right. So I think this is
is
going to be a
is my
virtue
goal.
roll because really it's defend.
Okay. Because I'm less concerned with the sky and more concerned with a family that cares about me.
Mm-hmm.
And then
So is it that we're moving like way too fast to be safe, and so Amir is trying to like protect us from the risks of our haste? Is that the
Yeah, that's
idea?
one way to look at it. I think it's simpler than that. I mean, it's really just his motivating factor is that he's trying to defend.
Yeah, I think I'm worried that if we
Fine.
linger too long, that y'all could get stuck here, and Grumble's the only one who can take the long way back. So,
Take a very long nap.
Yep.
Find a nice bed of moss.
Uh,
Go to sleep. Set
am
my
I-
alarm for 500 years.
Yeah. Wake me up when the stars are back. Can I? Is this balancing the attempting to balance nature and society?
Not really. I don't think it's just about trying to get to where you need to go quickly.
Okay, I'm gonna spend a favor to get an extra d6
Mm-hmm.
because I really want to make sure my friends are okay.
Amir's so sweet.
That's an 18.
Yay.
Yes.
Okay. No, we marked one of the stages of this. So, Amir is what you can see an easy path through the wetlands because there's higher ground. Wasn't there when you were there last, but now there is, and it looks like some of the locals have built some roads. And you actually locate a not a barge, but one of those flat boats. What are those called?
Oh,
A
a
pontoon.
raft.
Yeah, basically a raft. There's a name for it, but anyway, yeah. So you
Pirogue?
basically you come upon a raft, and it belongs to the local fisher folk. And there are not a lot of those, but you know that they must be around. You're seeing evidence of them. You're seeing tackle and deposits and things like that. So this is not. I wouldn't call it civilized, but you're definitely in fishing grounds.
Sure.
But yeah, you could commandeer one of these rafts if you like, or you could keep going along your path.
A pirogue, also known as a raft among the Whitlanders.
I'm gonna pull like a sack of dried fish out from my vest or whatever, and I'm just gonna drop it as I unhook one of these rafts.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now you're making some good progress, and the crack in the sky is still there, but it's not spreading. It's just alarming. I guess Grumble would acknowledge that the world used to be under a firmament. Firmament. I can't say the word firmament. Did I say that right? Invisible sky shield. Sky dome. And that fell with the fall of the stars. That's actually how the stars fell. And so you don't really know the timeline on that, but you can guess at this point that that's what's happening.
Okay.
There are stories that the sky shards themselves are the broken pieces of glass that used to hang above the firmament constitute it. Anyway, let's hop in this pirogue and get down this mountain.
And then there's a fireball that races across the sky, and it seems like the whole dome shudders, and it's off in the distance. There's an explosion. You can see it. You can't even fathom how many miles it is away. It's just off in the horizon.
We might want to move a little bit faster.
I am going as fast as my legs can carry me.
Yeah. What's your different plan to close this distance?
I'm gonna. I want to sing a song of haste. I want to basically juice Amir up so that he can paddle faster than he's ever paddled before.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, banjo has got to be great for casting haste over an entire party. I feel like if there's any instrument that would make the most sense for casting haste, it would be an extremely fast banjo shred session.
Absolutely.
Like if banjo was used for surf rock.
I mean, Dick Dale to the power of Alexi Lyo is the speed I want to go for.
This sounds amazing.
I'm so excited about our banjo music.
And it's, I mean, I'm pulling a Doof Warrior is what I'm doing, and it's just like gonna amp Amir up completely. I'm definitely going to roll my. We all have one favor, right?
Yes, for showing up today.
So, what is this? Virtue, courage,
I think this is virtue.
virtue.
'Cause we're
Okay,
still defending, really.
that works for me.
Would-
And then I'm gonna use my performer at a, we'll call that a D. Screw it, I'm going to do the D8, and then one favor. All right.
Would you like
Loaded
an
for bearing.
assist from Renosi? For
Ooh,
another
how are you
one?
going to help?
Oh,
Well,
I would
Inosi
love an
has
assist.
Inosi has magic. She can magically use her staff to like help make Grumble's performance like just epic. Like the banjo strings reverberate with magic and haste as he plays.
Can you conjure a pedal board for me?
Yes. Inosi will conjure a paddle board.
A pedal board, like a full panoply. I want a full panoply of Boss electric pedals.
Yes.
You-
Yes.
I want to get some reverb. I want to get a metal storm pedal. I want to get Fuzzbuster.
And so
And some loop pedals. So there we go.
he'll get my virtue.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. It's only a D4, but hey, you never know. It's another die.
Hey, that's another die. All right, so with his magically conjured stomp boxes and loop pedals and just his whole gear rig rundown, Grumble is going to launch into the banjo version of the extended track of Eruption by Eddie Van Halen. And let's see what he does. Okay, that's a 16.
Okay. All right. Well, that means that time is running out. Is not escalating.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the music comes through, and it fills Amir with eclectic energy, and strength, and endurance, and so I'm not even picturing him like paddling faster, but like with each stroke you go 3 times farther, and 5 times farther, and then suddenly you're just like creating a wake in the swamp. There's a moment when you pass by and there are these fisher folk that are on a barge, and they just sort of like their barge just falls back on the wake, and they're looking back and talking to each other about titans washing through their lands. And that's so yeah,
the most beautiful melody they've ever heard at 240 BPM.
Mysterious music that they brought down to their children and their children's children until it became ska. No, I could.
Someone in the wings holds out a phone.
This song, this song is actually a really fast version of a song that I heard
Johnny Be Good
before. And there's like a guy on a boat who's like, "It's your cousin."
Yeah.
I guess you guys weren't ready for that yet, but your kids are gonna love it.
So in the distance, you can still see streaks of fire coming down in different spots. Some of them closer than others. Some of them just streaks that are very imperceptible. Cracks.
So we're like shredding a killer banjo solo while Amir is paddling us so fast that we're making away with like a speedboat. And then there's last days of the dinosaurs, meteors falling on the
Mhm.
landscape.
Yeah, it's like a metal album.
This is metal as hell. I love it.
Yeah.
Can
This is
I
like
check
an
on the?
Amon Amarth cover.
Can I check if I can see the Oathstar?
Yeah,
Like,
I was just about to bring that up because
Look
this thread
behind and be like,
this thread is escalating. So the Oathstar has been appearing on the raft during this, but at one point she comes in and just looks terrified. She's looking past you all at something that is really frightening her. And she draws her sword and is cut down by an unseen force. She can't get to her sword fast enough. She's cut down brutally in front of you. And in the next moment, she's back and reliving this moment time and time again. And it's happening right on your raft.
Renoy, you want to help me try to do something about this?
Yes. This is yep. Oh no, there she gets cut. Oh, now she's gone again. Yeah, we should.
Each time she goes back into the sky is increasingly unstable. And you don't know if it's related or not or coincidental, but it's like being thrown into a dome that's already cracking. And so it kind of splinters some more. And she comes back and she keeps on. And it's not immediate, but it's happening frequently.
I think Amir's trap idea might be useful, or we could try to do that now. Because correlation and causation, but if the sky keeps cracking every time she disappears, then maybe trying to keep her here somehow in some way will stop the sky from cracking.
Rather than a trap, perhaps a lighthouse of some kind, something to guide and steady her. And if we work together, we can create something that she can kind of stabilize herself with, can use to guide herself even stronger. I mean, she's following us, but if we can kind of give her a base to lay, it's kind of like a trap, but really just give her kind of an anchor, a lighthouse, something that she can kind of attach to kind of stop that process. What do you think?
And that sounds like it could work. We just need to figure out what this sort of anchor is going to be. Amir's is kind of as big as a lighthouse, so
make Amir
can make Amir the tether, but I don't know if he, would want that or not, or if anybody has any other ideas.
We could use my staff.
That's also true.
It have to be something that was either coming with us or.
That sounds like a plan to me. We can use your staff as the focal point.
Okay. All right. That'd be something I'd like to do with Renoy's help.
I trust you both. Whatever you decide. And he's like,
okay. So I got my D20 here. And
I think this is we're still protecting, but now we're trying to defend the Oathstar.
Okay.
So that's virtue.
Virtue. Okay. D4.
And since I'm helping,
then you can give her your virtue die.
Take a D6.
Sweet. May I take a D6 for my magical path talent? Whenever my knowledge of the magical, I don't think anyone's tried to do this before.
Yeah, you're really pushing boundaries here. So yes.
And then do we get any of our die back that we've used already, or no?
There hasn't been time to rest since the last session.
Jeez, these things. Okay, then I'll take a D4 for
Insert a trombone noise.
My runes.
You could there are things you can do in the fiction to get some of your discipline back, but they're usually bad things.
Okay. And I have no favor. So, all right, well, here we go. Okay. I'll take a 17.
All right. Very good. Sarah's lost. One of the stages has been resolved. So, was it you were lighting a mirror up?
Really, my staff.
Oh,
so
your staff.
basically,
Okay.
Renault and I
Yes,
were
I misheard
using
that.
the staff to kind of give her some kind of stabilizing effect that she could use to kind of,
She comes onto the raft and the staff just stops her and she kind of focuses for the first time. And you see her face just kind of melt with realization. And then she looks up at the sky. We don't have much time. The Celestial War is underway.
Celestial War?
They're all going down.
Some sort of war of the stars, a star war, if you will.
Does this mean we're on a Star Trek?
oh my
It's more of
god,
a
you guys. I would like to use my magic to get me out of this situation.
I would revoke your favor if I could.
It's more of a Star tour.
It seems like we're touring multiple places. It's a Star Tours.
Yeah.
Y'all should be ashamed. Ashamed.
It's all breaking down, including in the game. So she's looking around and she's seeing what's going on and has said we need to move faster. Cracks are spreading.
I have an idea, but I don't want to step on anybody.
One more thing. Her star is back in the sky, even though she is not.
Oh.
And it wasn't there before she showed up in the flesh in the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You had an idea, Amir?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there swamp creatures that are keeping pace with our raft?
Well, depends. I mean, there are swamp creatures. Yes. There are crocodiles. There are a number of crustaceans, briny shrimp,
We have a
warthogs.
deity on our raft. That might attract like the biggest, baddest swamp creature, right?
Now, if you'd like to pay a favor, we can make that true.
I already paid a favor. Damn. Okay.
I too am out of favor.
Yeah. I was gonna try to catch a creature and use.
You can try to catch a creature.
Okay. So
You don't know what you're going to get. But
yeah,
you can...
we'll see what happens. So Emir, like he can see ripples in the water that there are creatures there. We don't know what they are exactly. And Emir, like paddling as fast as he can, realizes that his one body is not enough. And so he, with his other hand, pulls out his fishing rod, swings it around, and goes to like loop one of these creatures under the boat. Try to get us
I
a
don't
little
think
more.
you're rolling to see if you rope a creature. We're going to roll to see what creature you rope.
Yeah, did I get a good creature?
Yeah.
Something that's fast enough to help. So what is that? Is that a courage roll?
This is a courage because I think this
Okay.
falls square into scout. And then, you have the fishing talent and
Yeah, I have Hunter, so I'll put a D6 for that. And then I get a talent die when I try to train or domesticate an animal.
go for it.
That's a D6, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody want to help with this? Anybody want to throw some fish bits into the water?
I'm still furiously shredding, so
Okay.
I don't think I can. be able to help you on
What
this
are
one.
you using?
I have my my fishing rod, which is a mast of a ship with a 3-foot hook at the end.
Right, but for the roll, what are you using?
Oh, I'm using courage.
You can take Inosi's D6. She will help you. She can provide light so you could see better, perhaps, or
Could you
something
light up
al-
my fishing rod? Like
yes,
a lure? Okay.
yes.
Or
She will light up the
hook?
end of the rod, so you get a d6 for her. Courage.
Awesome. Okay, so one more d6 for help. Here we go. Damn it. An 11. I got an 11.
Oh,
Okay, that's good enough.
It was almost very high, but it rolled
That could be
back.
worse.
Yeah, that's it for time is running out. So I think you're going to be able to close the distance. And the creature that you catch is a very large crocodile, and a very angry one. And once it realizes that it's on a line, it just paddles quickly ahead and kind of pulls you even further along. And at this point, you are going across a bayou, a large lake, and a river, and you're like really closing the distance. And in fact, you can probably guess you are somewhere near where the temple was, and in only a matter of a couple of hours, you did what took 3 weeks in your own time. Because of all of this magic. And, the world is still kind of collapsing a bit, but you can see that you are probably nearby where this temple was. However, the Oathstar is kind of trying to, it looks like she's dizzy or something, but then she grabs her chest and she looks back at the star and she says, "I'm tethered. They're pulling me back into the war." And she has her sword out and she's preparing to go be flung right back into the sky to fight whatever celestial battle is happening above the dome. It's causing all of this calamity.
Okay.
And at this point, you are arriving at her temple. It is made out of just the stone that was found in the bedrock of the swamp. And it's really humble. It's not something that anybody really pays a lot of attention to. But it does have the priests that are taking care of it.
I'm gonna put out my hand to take her hand.
Yeah, actually, and Inosi will take Amir's hand as well to try to help, and kind of reach out for either Grumble or Renoy. Maybe we can all.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab Inosi's hand and then wrap around and hold on to Renoy, and then Renoy, you can grab onto Amir.
there we go.
I think. Okay, so
all four of us.
yeah. I was just gonna say, I think perhaps. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna have to roll anything for it, but my perception of this is Grumble had talked about that we kind of represent like the 4 elements, perhaps if there's something where we're all kind of together in sort of a Captain Planet-esque Voltron, sort of putting our, strengths together, somehow, to get her, untethered and into her temple, essentially.
I mean,
I don't know how that would work mechanic-wise.
The temple is made from the planet that we represent. The material and energy that it's made from. She is this celestial aspect. She's not of this earth, but if we can try to do something to tether her to this planet, then maybe that will hold out long enough to sever the line that she's connected with to the firmament.
Yeah.
This is
Okay,
some big
so
magic.
who is propelling this ritual? Who's the boss?
Probably be Inosi,
source.
honestly, because she has, unless
Inosi, for
Renoy
sure.
has a specialty in ritual or something.
No, only for charms and curses. Those are her main disciplines, and of course making like the amulets. But obviously when it comes to her doing her regular magic, she draws, from the 4 elements. So I don't know if that I don't know if she could assist you again but
If you're making it an elemental ritual, it would make sense for the wicker to be the source.
yeah. All right.
Mhm.
So that means you're doing the roll, and this is I think we're still protecting. There could be an argument made if you're doing it with a different motivation, but really you're trying to save the Oathstar, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's virtue, and everybody gives you their virtue die. You can have any number of
Alright.
assists.
Mine is a D6.
There's a
D4.
D6. Okay.
Mine's D8.
D8.
Hey.
All
And it-
right.
And a D4. Did you get my D4?
I did.
That's
I
the important
got-
one.
I got one of each.
Do you have a favor to spend?
Yes, I do actually. I didn't use mine from the beginning of the game.
And can you get one because we're kind of working together? The pastoral? I know it's not.
Well, that's what
exactly
all of the
fighting.
assists are. Yeah, that's all.
Oh,
all the
okay.
We're
assists
fighting
are.
a Star War here.
Exactly. We're stopping a Star War.
So we're-
We
we're-
need to keep her here. She needs to be the last star fighter.
She's
She's our only hope. See, look what you all made me do. It's all your fault. All right, I think we got you all we can get you
Okay.
there.
and then I think the stat is right, and then also your discipline blessing would apply
Okay.
because it's I can't remember the exact wording, but this is the kind of thing you're supposed to use it for, that healing.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'll do that. So then I'm sorry, is this a virtue roll? For
This is a virtue roll, yes,
virtue roll. So
And then,
D6.
and then you just choose which die you want from bless.
Do a D8. There we go.
Okay,
All right.
cash it in.
Look at all of it. Yes.
That was one of the design goals, is to allow you to roll all kinds of dice.
Yes. Okay. Ooh. 16.
All right.
Okay.
Not bad. Okay.
Yay. So, see, index cards can be good.
Yeah.
I still have narrative control though. Well, so the activating all of your representative elements sends a surge of power through her, and she begins to radiate in sort of a divine way. And it's almost like somebody unplugs something from her back, because she kind of goes like this and then just relaxes and smiles. I have been rescued from the fall. And at that point, the sky is literally falling. And you can see black volcanic rock just tumbling to the earth. And if you recall, in the future, there is a large shard right where you're standing. So you think maybe it might be falling now, even though it's hard to see in the chaos. It's cracking and crumbling, and you're hearing booms all over, and you're seeing fire, and things are ripping across the sky. But you have a fleeting moment where you're like, I think one's about to land here.
I hate to say it, but I think that that's how we're going to get vaulted into the future. If we go inside the temple, then when that shard hits, it'll either kill us. Listen, y'all, it's either going to kill us or it ain't. So,
Well, isn't it like a door? Couldn't we go? We don't need to run away and then come back and then go inside.
you just don't have a flair for the dramatic, do you, Amir?
And Emir looks nervous, and he picks up muscles and under one arm, and he picks up his alligator under the other, and he's like, "Okay, whatever you say, Grumble." And the alligator's biting him, and he's like, "Stop!"
Like kitten bites to you, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna go into the temple? The sky is falling.
Well, Inosi
Or
doesn't
are you
have
going
any
to try
better.
to find sanctuary?
Well,
I'm waddling into this little temple.
He's a rock, man. He'll be going to
I'm a
find no matter
rock.
what.
yeah, I know she's gonna follow. I guess she's like, well, I guess we're not trying to find shelter, or this is our shelter. Okay, well,
Brenda is
it's been
gonna.
it's been a good run.
You hear
Brenda-
boom, boom outside as glass is falling all around. There's
Listen, if we go wait out there, we could get smashed by any type of normal mundane rock. I'm saying we go where we know that the magic rock is going to land. That's the safest place if you think about it. We
Sure.
know that there's not going to be like a volcanic boulder that lands there, right?
There is going to be one very large one.
Yeah, but that's magic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're in the temple now, or we're just. What does the inside of the temple look like?
there is a reflection pool that they've collected, and it's sort of built into the bottom of the ground, and there's it's sort of like a step pyramid at the top. It's open. They collect the rainwater here, and there
And it's
are
pointing up to the sky, right?
yeah,
The
right,
gate, like some sort of gate on the stars, like a stargate.
yeah, exactly like that. And there are these priests that are inside that are, just sort of humbly dressed. They're they would look like, the type of people you expect to live in a swamp. I mean, they're not like wearing robes or anything, but they're clearly taking care of the place. And they have statues of the Oathstar, but she's playing a flute, and it's all these like flute imagery and music. And when you come in, you hear the sound of a flute behind you. And the Oathstar is walking forward with this impossibly beautiful melody as she walks into her temple, and she's playing a flute. And the priests all, realize who she is and start panicking, and then, doing the best that they can in terms of showing reverence and bowing and chanting. All the while, the sky is falling around you. As she seems unconcerned.
I guess Inosi's just gonna sit cross-legged on the floor. I mean, here we are. We're gonna observe what's going on.
I mean, we
Come hell
came
or
here
high
for
water.
a flute. We came here for a flute, and now there's a flute.
All right. I think Grumble's going to need to roll this one because he's the one that's so intent on. We're just going to let the rock fall on us.
No.
This is his idea.
I think this is going to be make a stand,
Yeah.
Sure. What's that? What's the
which is virtue, I believe. I should know this. A lot of virtue in this game.
Okay, and then
And remember, you choose when your characters die, so something's going to happen. We'll find out what.
oh, I don't have any favors, so I'm just gonna roll straight. I'm gonna use my. I mean, this feels like a puzzle. Can I use my wits? I have a specialty in wits.
Yeah. You
All
try to
right.
figure it out as opposed to feel it out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. And I'm gonna roll.
So we got the marker. I need to know if I'm going to draw an upward escalation arrow or if
Oh,
I'm going to cross
boy.
this out.
I rolled a 7.
Okay, that is an upward escalation arrow. Sky is falling.
Grumble, I'm having doubts.
Yeah, I think Grumble's really only thought is trying to figure this out is that, with the opening in the ceiling of the temple, you'll be able to see the rock before it hits you. And that's what you see. It
Are
just
we
starts off as blackness, and then it gets closer.
Are
What
we?
was your question?
Are they glowing before they hit the ground? These shards.
Some of them are, and some of them aren't.
Okay.
This one is not.
Perhaps we could appeal to the Oathstar somehow. I mean, we follow her, or did. We're her people. Perhaps if we appeal to her somehow, she may be able to do something. And no suggests from the floor.
The rock comes in closer, and then darkness. And you're all kind of standing there now. It's like you are in that moment in Stranger Things when she's standing on the infinite water and blackness. That's what it's like. And the Oathstar is sitting like cross-legged here, and she's just looking off into the darkness. Looks like she has been crying, but that has dried up since however long she's been there. It's quiet. It's peaceful. All of the bombings are gone. The cracking in the sky. You are nowhere and you are no win.
All right, we can solve this. Everything is just black.
Yeah, darkness. There's sort of an inherent light with the Oathstar, so you can sort of see around the immediate area, and you can see it's almost like you're standing on black, oily water.
All right. Has anybody heard I'm just going to ask the Oathstar, where are we?
Well, we are trapped in this moment when the Celestials lost their war, and now we are bound to the place where my star fell. We're nowhere.
Well, how do we get out? How do we go from nowhere to somewhere?
I do not know. I don't know how long. I don't even know if time exists for us.
Well, obviously you've been crying, so that was happening in the past, and then now we're here. So there is some sort of time.
If I could find my oath sworn, I would know my way out. And countless people who, throughout their lives, swore their allegiance and their oaths to the star in the western sky. They give me my sight.
I turn to the rest of the party. I'm just like, apparently we got to find everybody who sweared on the Oathstar.
But how do we find them if we're stuck in here?
Now you see the predicament that we are in.
Yes.
Amir's two animals are with him.
Yeah. It's okay.
And you can see the priests are there too, as your vision's opening up a bit, and they're washing her, braiding her hair, singing songs.
Washing her with what? Oil?
Oh, the water that's on the ground that you're made of. It's not oil. It's just oil. It looks like oil.
Okay.
It's just water without light.
We have had a very personal connection with one of the Oathsayer's followers, who is telepathic. Perhaps even from this place, we could reforge that connection.
You remember Grumble mentioning at some point, and maybe Grumble doesn't even remember, that when you are in states like this outside of the world, it's familiarity, that closest distance, not distance.
Right.
So what you're saying is we gotta go get the unicorn again? Is that it?
Well, that was one idea, but we were... I don't know if that counts, if the familial distance is strong enough between Esther and us. When we came into this place the first time, when we moved through, we lost Esther and Julius. So perhaps we are not that familiar with them. I am not familiar with anyone, really, except for you three and my friends here. But do the rest of you have loved ones you left behind in the Whitlands?
Mound Mom. A beautiful green grassy knoll from whose depths I was created, beginning just as a small pebble, not much bigger than an egg. And then over time, I grew. I took new minerals into myself. And before long, I was independent. At first, I did not want to leave Mound Mom. She was a source of stability and safety for me. But when I grew large enough to have my own tiger's eyes to gaze upon the stars, I knew that I would have to learn every story that was out there, visit every place that I would ever hear about. And so, with Mound Mom's blessing, I went out into the world. But I still remember the warm embrace of Mound Mom's love. Mound Mom is literally a Whitlander, as in she is part of the Whitlands.
My uncle was the one who taught me magic when I was very young. Mostly against, well, I actually don't know. I suspect my parents wouldn't approve. My parents died when I was very young. I was brought up with my uncle. But I remember him teaching me in the small house that we had over the hearth, teaching me about herbs and spells and runes in the sand of the floor, heating the fire with his breath at night. I definitely remember those things. I haven't seen him in quite a while.
I guess for me, I mean, didn't really have a one place that I called home. I normally just wandered around by myself looking for other towns and clans and to see if I could help them in any way and, would stay around for a while. But I guess the last group that I was with before we left, there is this really tiny girl there, and she constantly got into a lot of trouble, but it was only because she was just really curious about everything. And at night, eventually her parents would let her sit outside with me, and she would we would just read stories or make up stories, draw in the dirt with sticks, anything like that, until she was too tired to stay awake anymore. And then I would bring her inside to her parents, and she'd go to bed, and I'd go off in my own little hole, and then the next day would be a new day.
Perhaps those connections would bring us closer? Can you contact those people? Those mounds?
I mean, what do I have to do? Do I just imagine it? Do I place it in my mind? And no, see, you're the expert on rituals.
I think sometimes the best magic is the simplest magic, at the very least. Perhaps if we all continue to talk about people we left behind, imagine it as much as we can, give as many details, perhaps we can bring them closer as part of us and bring ourselves closer to where we want to be.
As they paint these pictures of people they've known and places they've were connected to, could I try to sense direction, like figure out which way, where to go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'd be trying to help them find their way.
The threat is the sky escalated, the sky fell.
Yeah.
And I think this is courage, probably.
Sure.
You could argue prestige if you were really thinking
I'll take
about-
courage.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna I'll set down Muscles and Allie, and I'm gonna see if I can use my connection to these animals to, like, basically give them the scent. And I'm gonna just reach into the water and try to pull up something that they described, maybe like a pebble or some herbs that was, the things that were described in the connections, to offer to the animals as, so they have a scent. And then I'll use my D4 from Marchin because that's what I got left. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm rolling 2 dice.
All right.
Here we go. I'm gonna roll them over here. They're gonna be loud. Jeez, nope. I got an 8.
Okay. So the otter bear and the crocodile go and kind of sink into the water as if they're swimming, and they're gone. And then there's a bit of turbulence out in the water, and you can see almost like a vision of war happening beneath the surface of the water. You recognize that the army of the Hydoni army is attacking Sundered Hold, Regnan, and you're actually watching it play out. And that vision grows a little stronger. It's almost like scrying when you're looking into the water. And there are souls that are being cast into the space you are in as this war is continuing, and they're falling into the area where you and the Oathstar and everybody are, and they're just sort of lost and vacant and can't see what's going on. Just died in warfare. And we're getting spirit upon spirit as this war is raging. And so you have forged a connection back to your world, but it is through the violence that is happening with the Oathstar's people.
I think I have an idea. If we, Grumble, you were going to say something.
No, go ahead.
if we are in purgatory, for lack of a better term, and the souls are coming to us, they are coming through to us, then this is a border between our world and another, which means that there is a doorman. And I start looking for that kraken.
Nice.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're still going after the same threat, which has escalated twice.
Oh, geez.
God.
So you're rolling again.
Is
And this is Hunter. I mean, if you have any dice left.
Sure, I got a D4 left for that.
I can help with this because I sang a song to
Oh, yeah.
the,
Have Grumble help.
to
So
the,
if this is sort of like an ally roll, that could be virtue.
Okay.
okay, that's a D6.
Okay. All right. So I have a D8 virtue. I have a D4 for Hunter because I'm trying to track the kraken.
The
Does
sea
this-
scare.
The sea scare. Does this is this balancing the nature and society?
Yeah, I think in this case it is because you're trying to find, you're trying to ride the connection with what the war is tearing apart the supernature, I guess.
Okay.
I'll let you have it because I kind of want to see this work.
Okay. Well, that's all I got. So I just dive. I just dive down looking for this sea scare. All right, here we go. Move these other dice out of the way. Okay, yeah, no, it's a 13.
All right.
I got an 8 on my D8 and a 5 on my D20.
Woo.
Yay!
Yay!
I do rip these up, which is always satisfying.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, so Amir is gone for a long time, an uncomfortable long time. He dove into the nothingness water. And then there's sort of like a Jurassic Park kind of like impact wave that just circulates through the plane. And then a giant tentacle rises up out of water, and then another one, and then another. And this huge octopus head rises up. And you remember how big this thing was. You are, yeah. But on top of it is a mirror, standing triumphantly and just going like this. And all of you are swept up in the wake of the kraken, the sea scare that dives back into the water. And there's darkness, water, and all of a sudden it pours out of the sky. And a giant kraken smashes through what is left of the citadel of Bregden, of Sundered Hold. Boom! Walls fall, towers fall, and the entire Hydoni army flies backward from the impact.
Oops.
You made it.
Yeah.
And the kraken is now moving off into the river and kind of going in and trying to find a new place. Its form, like octopus, and it just kind of spreads its form around and then submerges it, even though it's giant. And after a few moments, you don't even see it anymore.
Yeah. And this thing definitely tries to get out of its way.
Grumble, I hope it is not a problem. I promised it all of your hats.
How dare you?
We will have to get you more. I'm very sorry.
I don't want anybody to know I'm bald. Just got like a fringe of moss around the top.
Does anybody here speak Hydoni?
No.
Probably not.
We were speaking Russian with them before.
The
What is that?
I'm hearing a
What is that about?
wicked echo. I don't know if that's coming from me or not. Oh, somebody fixed it. So the Hydoni are shouting manic orders to each other, and you can see that the armies are realigning and setting up a new strategy. and they are in kind of the last rows of taking down the city. Inside, Kraken destroyed a lot of things, but it's not where the soldiers were. The soldiers are sort of inside, and they're just there's like maybe half a regiment left. So we're talking 500 versus 10,000. And they have just succeeded on breaking down the walls, and now they're remobilizing, and you hear them screaming. You do hear the word "say scare" at some point in there, but they're remobilizing, and all that you can see on the other side is the remains of the Darwish army, which was little to begin with. Esther is there, and she her main is on fire, and she has been leading this defense.
Is the Oathstar still with us?
Yes, she is. She's observing her people as she's looking around, and it looks like she's calculating what's going on.
Well, listen, Oathstar, I mean, these people have their backs against the wall right now. So, if there was any time for you to do some celestial magic and maintain peace between these two people, then now would be it.
She takes her flute and she begins playing. Everybody on this side of the wall immediately looks up and sees her, and jaws are dropping. Esther's flame dies down, and she just kind of stares, and for a moment there's just quiet. But the Hydoni cannons start firing. Walls begin to collapse. The goddess can inspire, but she cannot do.
How far are these cannons?
On the hilltops outside the wall, so good, quarter mile?
Hey, Amir, how far you think you can throw me?
It's time!
I have been waiting for you to ask, small friend, and I pick you up. Yeah, I am going to hurl. Can this be me helping you?
Sure.
Yeah. I'm out of stuff, man.
Yeah, I still have. Let me see. Let me see what I still got in the tank. And I've used 3 different. You have 3 dice for each of your disciplines, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
9 total. Okay. So I could maybe use, courage is my highest stat. So that's a D8.
And we're striking, it sounds
Because you're striking. Yeah.
Yeah. And does perform count here?
If you can make it count. How are you performing?
It is an old dance that I learned from. It's basically breakdancing, but I'm a rock, and I learned it from my brothers and sisters back at Mound Mom. My what would they be called? Moundlings. My fellow Moundlings. We used to have. It's sort of like, okay, you know how like capoeira is part it's part self-defense, but it's also just part dancing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of similar to that, where it's like this is a martial art / dance style that is designed specifically for the Holton. And so when Amir launches me into the section with the cannons, I want to just go full bore at these guys. Like it's my Tasmanian devil moment is what it is.
Awesome. Well, that means you get to use perform.
Okay.
So you get a D6 from me for my courage.
Awesome.
For me helping. And you're fighting with the help of your friends?
Yes. I am. So that's another D6, right? Because I have pastoral.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get by with a little help from my friends.
Oh, all right. That's a 23.
Okay, you get a favor.
Finally.
The Hydoni Siege has 2 more stages to it, but you can at least tell me what happens to the cannons, which was the threat you were after.
Yeah. I'm the fighting style that you see is what you would get if you crossed Tasmanian Devil with Sonic the Hedgehog. Moving in ever widening circles. I go between a sort of spin dash mode into just a big ball of rock swinging limbs, also made of rock. I'm
After you were catapulted,
after I was
like a
catapulted.
bomb.
Yeah, I mean, we see me just in full cannonball mode, like arms wrapped around my little rock feet. I make a crater when I land.
The cannons are disarmed, and the ones that were fighting the cannons are either unconscious or let's not talk about it. One of the two. So now the soldiers are marching forward because enough of the wall has been destroyed, both by a kraken and also cannons, that they're actually doing their assault now. So we have the defensive line aside the city. We have the Oathstar who's inspiring them with her flute. And something you're seeing behind her is interesting is that you see these sort of ghostly figures start appearing behind her one by one. And after a few moments, a dozen by a dozen, and they just start multiplying. And they're just people of all ilk. It looks like just different shapes, sizes, heritages. Many of them are wearing something reminiscent of Whitlander garb, but they're ethereal. They're not. What's the word? They're the ghosts. They're not tangible, but they're just sort of manifesting behind her, and it's sort of creating a multitude over time. And it looks like she might be calling people with her flute.
These are like shades or something. These are like
maybe spirits of some sort.
Is that Renoy's Ballywick? Does she do spirits?
Probably.
No?
Not many people do. I mean, there's
What
sort of
can
I do
sort of weird.
spirits?
I don't know. You're a wicker.
I'm a worker. No, just charms, curses, and blessings. I don't really deal with any ghosts.
Not many people do in Highcaster. They're sort of strange.
In either case, Inosi would like to do something about this line that's coming through. If she can.
Yeah.
She's gonna use her staff and some words, and she kind of wants to pull like a big like Muad'Dib, kind of use some power words to get this line back and stop this line from moving forward. Where are they standing? Where are we standing?
Well, you're inside the outer courtyard, which is in between the citadel and the outer wall.
Okay, so she wants to get up on the wall then, or where a good vantage point where she can see this defensive line and get up there with her staff, and she's gonna, be saying, magic words really, really, like loudly and like moving with her staff to try to stop them from coming through.
And some wind effects that are blowing your cloak.
Yes, of course. Of course. I thought that was assumed. I didn't know I had to say that. I thought that was assumed. I mean, that's part of the magic. It has to happen.
Right. So in a way you're navigating them, right? Trying to get them inspired.
I'm trying to. Well, no, she's trying to attack the
bad guys. Okay.
Yeah, the bad guys. Yeah, she wants to get up where she can see who's coming forward. She wants to go after the bad guys, like start power wording them back and stuff.
So you could. It depends on what you're doing precisely and what your intent is, but you could go prestige if you are trying to intimidate or break the line. Or it's a strike if you're trying to do.
Yeah, no, she's trying to strike. Yeah.
Okay, so that's courage.
Okay, so I get the D, and and I guess I'll take the D4 for like one of the very last. It's going to be words. Fighting with my friends, so I will take that. As it would depend on. Yeah. No, she's not. All right. Okay. I think that's all I get. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I'll take a 19.
All right.
And it was the D4 that came up before. Well, thank you, D4. Little D4.
Little D4 that could. All right. Is this? I mean, I had a firebomb in my head, but what magic were you casting?
Myself. One sec. Okay. So it literally just looks like she's up top on top facing these bad, like the Hydoni army coming through. And she's waving her wand, and it's like the effect is an extension of her wand, and it basically looks like an invisible hand is just like pushing these people back and flinging them back,
Shields and armor
boom,
and screens.
and boom, and like they're just flying all over the place. Yeah, that's what she's
Awesome.
doing.
All right. The siege has got one stage left. It looks like this front line was broken. And so, what is their final move? The red cloaks. The red cloaks are coming. Over the ridge, you see about 24 of these golden armored, maybe knights, but it's gold armor. I mean, they're not for fighting. They're for presentation, right? They come over the ridge in this dramatic tableau, and the sun is rising behind them, so they're sort of backlit, and you can just see their cloaks whipping around in the air. And all of them have these ornate staves, and they begin, and this power radiates from them as a collective group. And in a moment, it collects, and you don't see what it looks like. It's invisible. It's like a big ball of air thrown through the sky, and it hits the wall, obliterating it. And this is where you're standing. So you go falling in the rubble, and they just basically made this massive sonic wave that destroyed the entire wall in one move. And they're marching forward very slowly as they're collecting another spell.
They took my aesthetic. Took my staff. I carry staves, man. That's my thing.
Biting your style.
They gotta go. They're gonna go down now.
So while this is going on, the Oathstar says that she now has multitudes behind her. And they're sort of, these ghosts are kind of in and out of the material world, and they're sort of in and out of the buildings, and they're just kind of appearing behind her. And she says, I brought them here, but I cannot command them. And she looks to you.
To which one?
The collective you. Capital Y, the royal you.
You're saying that you can't command them, but we can?
You do what must be done. I can only inspire and call them, but I cannot command them. You are the titans of legend. It is up to you.
Am I there? Or am I still out in the field?
You're out in the field, but you can all hear her clear as day.
Oh, of course, she's magic.
Are there any magic looking shades amongst, magic user looking shades amongst them?
There's multitudes, so there probably are, yeah.
So Anosi will be like, all right, if this is what we have to do, she's going to take it on, and she's going to like point at them, and she's like, you with me. And she's going to take control of all the ones who know how to use magic, essentially, and have them follow her. As I trust you all to pick your command.
Magic users.
I mean, I'm going to try to make my way back to where the rest of the crew is, and if she found a bunch of magic users, I'm going to find a bunch of musicians.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get a marching band going.
Hmm.
There's drummers, there's lute players, there's singers.
I'm just picturing the band marching through and like playing and then whacking somebody, just like not missing a beat, just you know.
So are you all individually calling a group to arms?
Who do you take, Renoy?
I think she's gonna try to find some other wickers, and hopefully with all their powers combined they can conjure up some like really big like curse to help defeat the army or something like that. So
Mhm.
Take
Yeah.
any flyers too. Anybody who has wings and stuff like that.
oh yeah, fly my pretties, fly.
Hey!
Exactly like that.
Yeah. So I guess Amir throws on a yellow cloak and says, "And I'll take the rest," and heads off into the wade into battle with all the rest.
There's really no argument or discussion. They all immediately follow you. And as they start following you, they begin to manifest and actually become tangible people. And from the other side, as the Hydoni are reforming and getting the rest of their army together. They're 5,000 instead of 10, and then their red cloaks. From their perspective, they're just seeing this army appear out of nowhere, marching forward, and led by the heroes. And that's their vision. And so now they're sort of in a desperate place, and then they charge. So there's a clash. And here's what we're going to do.
I got a few dice left, y'all. I'm just telling you, I'm pretty tapped out here. I have
think-
one little D4.
because of the size and also because of the people following, Amir is probably the prominent centerpiece of this charge.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be doing the rolling here. This is courage, full on courage strike roll.
Mm-hmm.
But you get everybody's courage,
Okay.
and any other dice you can fill up.
Okay.
Worst is going to happen is it's going to get worse. So don't worry too much.
Yeah. So, okay, this is a stretch, but because the wizards are using the elements against us, can I use Discipline of Survival to understand how to withstand the elements?
Well, right now the elements are like a charging army, so not really.
Okay,
Sorry.
worth a shot. But I am.
It was
fighting
worth.
with
It was worth a try. It was
Yeah,
worth a
I'm-
try.
I'm fighting with
go
my
for it.
pals. There's that.
I think the alligator on one, or sorry, the crocodile on one side, the otter bear on the other.
Muscles.
Yeah, alien muscles.
Yeah, and they're charging on. It's a really cool tableau.
I think I give the spirit. I let the spirits make a connection through me to like the bestial nature of our physical world, and so they all start to like transform into giant beasts.
I love it.
It looks and feel a little like Endgame.
But okay, cool. So I have 2d6 here for my courage and for fighting with my friends. Who's loaning me courage dice?
Yeah,
You get a
everybody gives you
D6
courage.
from me. A D6 from an OC.
You get a D8 from me.
Ooh, courageous.
And you get a D8 from Renoy.
Okay, nice. All right, and I have no favor, so this is it. Come on, D20, you got this. Okay, could be worse. So that's 13.
Nice.
All right. We'll get rid of this thread.
Yay!
Yay.
Woo. Go team.
So there is a massive clash, and the Hydoni are very skilled warriors. That's what they do, and they plow through so many of this of the Oathstar's army, but they cannot get past a certain point. And at some point, and it's like, there's this moment where the commander is looking down and watching 3 of his soldiers get completely devoured by a giant crocodile, and then looks up and sees this battalion of fire magic landing on a bunch of his people, and then he sees Esther charging out and goring people, and then these musicians that are playing, causing all of the power to rise up, and people are changing shapes and forms and sizes as they're charging in. And they sees the curses blasting from a bunch, like a whole platoon of wicker, and he just calls stop and calls retreat. And so the army begins falling back. There's probably still a good few thousand left, but they're not going to fight anymore. Are you going to chase them and rout them, or let them fall back?
I immediately stop and let them fall back.
Yeah, I'll let them fall back.
Yeah, so
Same.
just give them a look like, that's right. Better run. Go.
Did we win?
Well, we stopped the war. I don't know if you can call that winning.
What? What were we trying to do then? If that's not winning, then what even was our goal here? I think that we should be proud of ourselves.
I look down at Allie and I'm like, "Did you hear that? You should be proud." And Allie, I roll Allie over onto its back and rub its tummy.
Those muscles get jealous.
Oh yeah.
Esther rolls up, just caked in blood and gore.
Yeah, the army, the ghost army, is de-manifesting and turning more into these spiritual beings. And Oathstar is there. She looks at all of you and thanks you.
No, thank you. We could not have done that without your help.
You know, if you really wanted to thank us, you could let us hold on to that flute. And that could come in pretty handy down the line.
You have earned it. She hands you the flute.
Oh, yes.
I was trapped reliving the Celestial War. Or I don't know how long it's been. And you broke me
500
free.
years.
I believe it's time for me to take my place again. Sorry about the dog.
Canis Major.
Muscles. She is trying to have a speech. No.
I think it is time for me to take my place and bring all of my Oathsworn with me.
I know he will bow to her. And
All of them.
Erno bows as well. Her wings just spread.
Emir doesn't bow, but he does sort of like he nods. I think that's as
Grumble
much as
gives
he
a
can do.
jolly wave.
Oh, if you are leaving with all of your, if you need a guard dog, there is a sea scare that we let out in the river up that way. Would make a great doorman for you to take with you.
I was there. Yeah, may we all have friends that are so available to us. Thank you. And she turns around and walks, and as she's walking, she is rising and ascending, and so are all of her Oathsworn. And this is when the realm of Highcaster sees something astounding, because one star in the sky was something, but thousands all at once appear. And prominent on the horizon is the one single reddish Oathstar. And even the Hydoni army take off their hats and bow to what they see.
Well, I think we accomplished more than we set out to do.
I think so.
You all have a memory of what it was like 500 years ago. This is still just a sprinkling of what was in the night sky. But it's getting there.
Grumble points out the section that has like the biggest cluster of stars around the Oathstar and says, hey, y'all, now imagine what it's going to look like after we put all these stars back. It's going to be great. Y'all want to grab your stuff and move on to the next city? I'm betting that they have plenty of stars that need rehanging.
Why not? If we can accomplish this, then we can do anything.
As long as we are together, I think we can do it.
Well, if everyone else is going.
Come on, Anasi, let's go. You know you want to adventure.
Well, I want to rest first. Can we just sleep?
almost on cue, you hear from behind, I heard about the war. Blackshire comes walking off from his longboat on the river. Then I saw the sea scare and I knew you were close.
Anasi, look who it is.
And she'll nod at Blackshire.
Grumble's gonna he's super happy that Blackshire's there, and he's gonna walk up and he's gonna grab his hat, his pirate's hat or his Viking's hat, whatever it is, pop on his own head, and then and say, "You're just the man that we wanted to see. We're gonna need some transportation to go around and find all these wonderful people who need their own stars put back up in the sky. And I think your ship is going to fit the bill just right. Good thing you need a first mate." And he's going to climb onto the ship.
He
Start
looks at a
bossing
Nosy.
people
He's
around.
looking at a Nosy, but talking to Grumble. I am always in your service.
Yeah. Nosy will sigh and she'll mutter something like, I wish you would consult us about these things to Amir and Renoy before following Grumble onto the ship.
Whatever do you mean? He always makes best choice. He always makes the best choices. And I, what's his name? Blackshire. Sir Blackshire. You won't mind our extra companion, and the giant crocodile, giant alligator comes up. Don't mind Ellie. He is not housebroken yet, but we will get there. No, stop biting.
No, don't bite the ship. We need it. Stop biting the line.
Oh, man.
Renee just looks around and she just chuckles to herself, and then she looks up at the I'm assuming there's a watchtower on top of the ship, and she just flies up there and settles in and looks around the horizon.
Well, where do we go? Just follow the river. I think Underbridge is next.
Yeah, I think we're just going to follow the river and see where it takes us. There's plenty more of the world to see.
As you're boarding the boat, Esther walks up. Her head is a little low. Her fur is. Do horses have fur? Her coat is completely covered in blood.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain remnants of foes hanging from her horn still. And she comes up to the boat and says, "We are forever in your debt. We have nothing, but if there was a gift that we could leave with you, ask for it and it's yours."
When you tell our story, make us sound awesome.
The grand titans of the Oathstar. You will go down in legend. Now we must rebuild. And she returns to her people.
I think they are going to be okay.
I think they will rebuild. Perhaps the next time we come back here, the library will be alive again. The city will be as it once was, if not more so.
I guess Esther isn't so bad now. Kind of like her, I think.
I mean, she did try to gore me in the side while she was flaming, so I don't know.
There's a reason we didn't ask her to come with us, you know.
True. But shame can be a powerful. It can be a powerful emotion. Make you do things that you would not otherwise.
True.
It doesn't look like your journey is over yet, but this chapter of it is. There's a final tableau that we see of the ship going down river, and describe how we close your character.
Inosi is on the front of the ship with her staff, and she gave Blackshire that mast head, the part. So she kind of is standing up front, silhouetted with her hand on it, and watching in front of them. It's magic too, so it has eyes. So if it's dark at all, it would be lit up using the magic, the blessing that she gave it a little while ago, and stuff. That's how we see Inosi. Cloak fluttering, of course.
Of course.
And Blackshire looking on with admiration. Perhaps she's even standing next to him. Why not? They're standing together at the front of the ship. Why not? She'll allow it. She'll allow it. This time.
Grumble is in the captain's quarters and has rolled out this large map of the known lands, and he takes out a grease pencil and he marks the Whitlands, the location of where the Seabeard camp was, and the location of the Darwish settlement. And you follow his finger as he looks down the river to the next port of call, and turns and he says to the cartographer next to him, how long until we get there?
Just a couple weeks.
Great. Wake me up when we get there. And he goes to sleep in the corner. Pile of rocks.
I think Renoy, she's letting loose a little bit. So she's just kind of going with the breeze above the ship and like flying around in and out of the sails and high above, while at the same time like manipulating the water to resemble different sea creatures, and just like having, I don't know, something that looks like a dolphin, but she formed it in the water and have it just like jump out and back into the water. And she keeps doing that with a bunch of them, and she's just having a grand old time.
And I think we see Emir sitting crisscross applesauce in the middle of the boat because he can't really stand on an edge or he'd tip it over. And he's got his hook hanging over the edge, and he reaches into his vest as Blackshire comes by, and he pulls out a little fishing pole to him, and hands it to him. And they sit and fish, and then we see one of Renoy's, like maybe a whale, do the backsplash thing, and then Muscles comes up and tries to do it, and then the alligator does it. And Emir just smiles real big and sits there fishing.
Awesome. Well, that closes this campaign, the story about the Oathstar, bringing more light to the night sky with our heroes.
The
I hope
Oathstar
you all-
Chronicle.
Yeah, Oathstar Chronicle. I hope you all enjoyed yourself. I certainly did. This was a really great, epic journey. It's exactly the sort of thing I have in mind when I built Highcaster. So thank you all for your contributions. This was a blast.